Our Time Will Come tells the fictitious story of the communist struggle against the Japanese army in World War II.
这里的很多事情，你永远不会明白的。
Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is Mort Garson, and this is my review of Our Time Will Come. Anne Hui is one of Hong Kong's most experienced and accomplished directors. I don't always watch her movies because, as I once said, I end up double-fisting caffeine and antidepressants. Which is not to say her films aren't great. They are. They're incredibly well made, but they're not generally what you would call entertaining in a populist sense. And remember, I'm a slobbering dullard incapable of appreciating anything other than the simplest, shallowest movies. Or so commenters say. But never mind. When I can actually make myself sit down and watch an Anne Hui film, and don't even ask where I put the remote to keep myself from stopping the DVD, I am always impressed by how well made her films are, and how well she tells a story. Our Time Will Come is, like many Anne Hui films, deliberate. That's a good way of saying slow, and I want to make that distinction. The story unfolds at its own pace, but it never tried my patience. And we all know I don't have a lot of that. It helps that the film is thoroughly unpretentious, and you get the feeling that everything in the movie is there for a reason and should be. Well, everything but the modern-day segments. Our Time Will Come, although set during World War II, also has segments set in the present that are filmed in black and white and feature Anne Hui playing herself, not playing herself, interviewing Tony Leung Ka-fai in old age makeup. To be honest, it's more than a little jarring because I don't really see what it adds to the film. And I think it's in black and white because the makeup that they used on Tony Leung is less than convincing. I understand what Anne Hui was trying to do, but honestly these segments really pulled me out of the movie, which was not easy to do because, like I said, it's extremely well told and very engaging. It's also very well acted. Jo Jun stars as a school teacher who at first seems to have no idea of what's going on around her. You know, World War II. But her transformation from school teacher to ruthless guerrilla fighter is slow, unglamorous, and completely convincing. It's incredibly difficult as an actor to be engaging while doing almost nothing, but Jo Jun can do that. Ivana Wong plays a woman who, to put it kindly, might not be the sharpest pencil in the desk. Her character sometimes verges on comic relief, but it's implicit and thankfully not explicit. Eddie Peng plays a dashing bandit-slash-guerrilla, a man of few words who still manages to make a very big impression in every scene he's in. Dini Ip plays Jo Jun's mother, a woman who wants nothing more than to be left alone and get on with her life, but who eventually realizes that this simply isn't possible. Sam Lee makes a brief appearance that some people have criticized as being overstated or even stereotypical, but I'd like to think that Anne Hui might be making a very wry homage to Paul Wei. And I make that reference because, let's face it, any Chinese movie about World War II is going to have political overtones or undertones, or be completely political. Our Time Will Come ended up being political both as a story and as a movie. If you don't like hearing me talk about politics in movies, hit the back button now and don't leave a comment. Our Time Will Come was supposed to open the Shanghai Film Festival in 2017, but a week before the festival opened, it was replaced with The Chinese Widow, a China-Denmark co-production that was promoted to the opening slot for reasons no one seems to be sure of, or no one will say in public. I haven't seen The Chinese Widow, but neither, I bet, have you. Or, given the resounding flop it turned out to be everywhere it was released, anyone else. Some people say it was promoted to the opening slot to emphasize the cultural and economic cooperation between China and Denmark as an example of the potential benefits of China's Belt and Road Initiative. It's apparently a thoroughly patriotic film, obtusely didactic and clumsy in that special August 1st Studios kind of way. That's important because Our Time Will Come, while being inherently patriotic, is not a propaganda movie by any stretch. It's also a much much better film. The problem that I have with propaganda movies is that they never seem to be able to settle for implicit messaging. In 2005's On the Mountain of Taihang, some PLA officer is shown doing something commendable. Then we see two foot soldiers standing next to each other and one of them goes, "You see, Comrade so-and-so is righteous." Yeah, no shit, Comrade Sherlock. Apparently, the Chinese Widow is like that. I can't say for sure because I haven't seen it and I'm not going to watch it, but neither are you. Our Time Will Come is undoubtedly a much more subtle, and therefore, to me anyway, a much more effective movie. Speaking of which, another possible reason for the film losing the opening spot, at least according to what we'll euphemistically call industry whispers, I saw them open for Depeche Mode once, I think, was the casting of Deanie Yip, who voiced support for 2014's Umbrella Movement protests. That will be relevant again later. Even if Our Time Will Come had remained the opening film of the Shanghai Film Festival, it would still be political. Chinese distributors said that they had decided to release the film as a gift to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Hong Kong's handover to China. So, as long as we're talking about history and movies, let me just point out that this gift is a story set in Hong Kong, acted mostly by people who aren't native Hong Kongers or speaking Cantonese. That probably didn't appeal to the local audience. Neither, as a friend pointed out, did the poster chosen for Hong Kong, which made Our Time Will Come look like an old-school propaganda movie. Now, as I pointed out in my Film Awards video, it was fairly obvious that Our Time Will Come was going to win Best Film of 2017. It certainly deserves the award on its own merits, don't get me wrong, but it's also the most politically acceptable choice. 2 years ago, the Best Picture went to 10 Years, and last year, Trevisa won. Both of those films were banned in China, and in the case of 10 Years, the judges were explicitly told not to award it anything. Those judges rule. So obviously, in order to make up for the past 2 years of political unacceptability, Our Time Will Come had to win. And it's kind of unfortunate that you have to take that into account because by itself, it certainly deserved to win. It was going to win Best Film anyway because it's an An Hui film and she's won that award a lot and she deserves to win that award a lot. But I think it's also important to at least acknowledge the political aspect of the film. All that said, I can honestly say I really enjoyed this film and I can recommend it to anybody that wants to watch it. It's a wonderfully made film. It's entertaining and it's obviously very, very interesting both as a story and as a movie. So I definitely encourage people to watch it, as long as you pay for the privilege. Don't steal this movie. Buy a DVD, buy a Blu-ray, because stealing is wrong. And hey, as long as we're talking about money and wrong, please click on my Patreon page and give me money, because I'm a terrible, terrible person, and you'd be shocked and appalled at the things that I would do for remarkably small amounts of money. Like watch Barbara Wong movies and say terrible, terrible things that I probably would never say to her face, but maybe I would, depending on how much coffee I had. But that's really not my story. All I'm saying is please, click on the link, give me a little something, just a little. If you enjoyed this review, please leave me a comment. If you didn't enjoy my review, leave a comment. If you enjoy the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.